Marcus.
Hey, Kellyn, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
I'm good, but then again, I wasn't voted out of Survivor last night, so I want to make sure that you're not. Well, you went out on a really positive note. Like, you didn't seem angry, you didn't seem bitter, but you seemed really just happy to have had the experience, which is really fun to watch as a viewer.
Yeah, well, I think I had the unique experience of knowing pretty darn sure that my name was coming up, and it had been 3 days since Chelsea went home, and it was pretty clear that I was the next target. And even before Tribal, Sebastian and Wendell had both come to me to sort of pay their respects. So I had time. Of course, there's always that part in your mind where like, are they just fooling me? They're trying to pull off some big plan. But no, I was pretty sure that it was me. So I had time to let that sink in. However, in the middle of Tribal, things started to get pretty spicy, and Jonathan starts to get emotional. I realized they started openly talking about that they were splitting the vote. And so I figured out that if I voted for Jonathan, because I didn't know going in that they were splitting the vote, but I figured that out while we were there. And so I figured out instead of voting with Jonathan for Dom for just like an emotional wasted vote, that if I voted for Jonathan, I could get it to tie. So it was a fun little like golden nugget to get it to tie, like to watch Dom and Wendell sweat just a little bit. But yeah, I was incredibly grateful for the experience. I love a lot of people that I played that game with, and I'm really thankful. And you know what? I got outplayed. It's the game of Survivor. If somebody plays better than you, 6 people play that game better than me, and they deserve my respect in that moment.
One thing on the show you talked about a lot was trusting your gut, and how you've done that your whole life, and you did it on the show. I think one moment where it really stood out to me was when you went to Ghost Island and you decided not to play the game. And if I remember correctly, that ended up working out correctly because you didn't lose your vote, so it ended up not being a tie or something. Am I remembering correctly? Yes, that is correct. So if I had lost my vote, it could have been a 4-4 tie. Because we were up, it was 9 of us, and we had 5 original Navidi and 4 Malolos. And so, yeah, I trusted my gut, quote unquote. That time it worked. Other times I did, and it didn't work. And it's been funny that it's that. I never realized I used the GUT word so often, but I guess I did. I try to never use that word again in my life, probably. But no, the first time I went, I didn't play the game. It's so hard as a Survivor fan too. Like, it's the boring move. It's, I'm sure Jeff Probst is sitting somewhere in his golden chair in the sky thinking, oh, come on, just risk it. So at the time, I really felt like keeping the 5 of us together was important from the game. And, I stayed around quite a bit longer because of that. So that one I don't regret. And then the next time I had another chance, right? It was just amazing. I got to go back. I got to play and get the vote. Still kind of screwed that up. But that's all right. That's life. We all have to go with what we think is best in the moment. And it's not really about what decisions you make. It's about how you move on from that afterwards. And yeah, I made a lot of Survivor mistakes, but I think I left with a graceful exit last night, and I have a lot to be proud of, and also a lot of things that I wish could have done differently. Can you tell us one thing that you wish you would do differently if you could play the game again, like if there's an All-Stars version coming up or something?
Yeah, I think that I thought I was more under the radar than I was. I think I was trying to play this whole like, oh, I'm just with the Navidi group and I'm the mother bear and we're all going to stay together and Malolos, I'm really sorry, but it's just the way it's working. And I thought that people were buying that. I thought that Dom and Wendell were buying that. I was just like trying to be like this older lady that's family, and they totally weren't. So I think the next time if I play again, that I can't just, obviously now that I played once, like I don't think people will buy it so easily that I'm just like going with the flow, that I was a more strategic player. Of course, I had quite a bit of luck at the beginning with puzzles, so I think that put some attention on me. And so I think I just have to, I never thought of myself going into this game as like a strong threat, quote unquote, in any way. And so I think underestimating myself is what got me into trouble.
Speaking of being a threat, you actually won the very first individual immunity challenge of the season. Was that one of your personal highlights and accomplishments on the show?
Yes. I mean, when you're a fan of the show and you watch and people get to, you know, spin and grin, they call it, turn around and have Jeff Pro put that necklace. I mean, that was the most at peace I was, I think, in my entire 35 days. I was walking out, you see all the colors set up for the individual challenge, and there's Jeff, and like, I just had this moment of like, I made the merge. There's all of these insane athletes around me, and you look at like Laurel and you know, Sebastian, like these people who are just Chris Noble was there, these insane athletes, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go out here and have fun and just soak it up. And I think I was just at peace enough in that moment that I didn't get into my head, and that's how I won that individual immunity. So those like 27 minutes or whatever it was in winning that challenge, that's definitely a huge highlight for me of the season.
And as a fan of the show, what did you think of the overall twist this season of Ghost Island and having past relics come back and trying to reverse curses and things?
I loved it. I was all in, and I think we all were all in out there. Like, maybe sometimes from home it seems a little cheesy or something, but it was our story. It was our narrative. It was our scene. And, like, it was so fun to, like, talk with there were a bunch of people who were actually true fans of the show. And it was so fun to just nerd out and see these advantages and have them play. And it was so fun. Now, I wasn't super thrilled that it was like an Exile type theme. I was really scared to go sleep by myself all alone. But you know what? I did it twice and I made it through. And the second night, it rained almost the whole night. So I was freezing cold all along. So the Exile part of Ghost Island was not so fun. But the idea of like haunted from the past and like we were all really like, orange. Nobody wants orange. Like that is the truth tribe. Like nobody wants that color. It seems cheesy, but it was part of the fun and part of the Survivor magic while we were out there to think about curses and hauntings, and we all had a lot of fun with it. It was super cool.
And you got a really cool advantage to play the Mikaela vote from a few seasons back. What was it like seeing the name on the card and then you getting to cross it off and writing someone else's name?
Yeah, it was like they don't have time to show everything, but I think for like an hour probably on Ghost Island, I was like, this is actually it? Like, this is what was written on? And like, it was smooth, right? It only had like the one crease down the middle. Now by the time I carried it around, saving the suit bottoms for however long, it wasn't quite as perfect condition. But it was so fun to just, and they, you know, wrapped around it was the whole story. And I, of course, remembered that moment that Mikaela's like something about the bitches over there. I don't know what she says on the bench, but to think about that was the actual piece of paper that Sarah Lucina swims over and picks up. And it was just so fun to just be touching those things. I'm such a Survivor nerd that I felt like I was in the museum of Survivor past, and it was just an honor to get to play with some of that stuff, even if I did still play it wrong. Quote unquote wrong.
One last question, Kellyn. Can you tell us what it was like receiving a loved one's visit from your brother, and what does that do to you emotionally to finish out the game? Yeah, the loved one's visit is such a pivotal point in the game for all of us. You know, starting at like 11 people. I mean, right after the merge, we eat the merge sheet, and then pretty much everyone starts to whisper about like, when do we think the loved ones is going to be? It's a huge thing. It's an amazing experience for the loved ones. They get to fly to Fiji, and I think they get like 5-star treatments and all that stuff, and they get to be a part and get to come meet you in your universe. And, you know, it was so amazing to, as soon as Jeff says, like, they're here, and you see us all break down. As a fan, it's always been one of my favorite episodes, but I've never really understood the weight of what that feels like.
And when Jess says, you know, your brother is here, or for Wendell, your dad is here, and you have that moment, it's like in a movie where you time travel and it's like goes really, really fast and there's neon colors. Like that's what happens in your brain. And you're warped back into like who you really are as a person for just a split second. And my brother has described it as the same way. He said it's like walking into an entire alternate universe. You all are just living in your own world, and it's completely separate from the real world. So it's maybe that's really not fun to listen to because it's hard to explain. I apologize if that's the case, but it is not only a game-changing moment because you need that to get through, but it is a life-changing moment, and something that Wendell Sr. and Dom and Kristen and me and Clay and all of us will get to share for the rest of our lives. I'm so thankful that I was there for that.
Well, Kellyn, the finale is just a few days away. I bet you're getting super excited to see everybody again.
Yeah, you know, I didn't go back to work until December. I took quite a bit of time to just travel and figure out my new life, and so I've seen everyone. I think except Angela and Donovan haven't been able to make it to some of the reunions, not out of emotional things, just scheduling and stuff. So I've seen everybody quite a bit, but I'm excited to have us all together again and to watch. I mean, we still have 3 more hours, I think, right? 3 more hours of Survivor this season. There's a lot of game to play, and look, I was only there at Tribal now, so I'm excited to see how it all truly went down on the island and to see who's going to be the big millionaire.
Well, thanks for chatting with us. We will see you at the finale show.
Okay, great. It was nice to speak with you.